As Brian Weaver, the lead instructor at HMA DFW, and this video is an opportunity for the student to take what is talked about in class and put it into practice as they're training at home and building that self-discipline that is necessary as a martial artist and for life. This video specifically is going to be a brief video about blocks and how we do blocks so that we get the most out of our movement and power in a situation in class, like a sparring situation, or in a real life self-defense situation where we are trying to defend ourselves and get out of the situation as quickly as possible. So at HMA DFW, we have 5 main blocks that we work on and we practice, especially in our lower ranks like white belt, yellow belt, orange belt, and then moving up through those belt ranks. So the first is what we call an up block. It's to block any object or strike or kick coming from my opponent down onto the top of my head. So I want to throw it up here. An inward block where I go across my face, protecting my face from any object coming at it straight ahead, right? So I'm going to go all the way across my face. An outward block, I'm going to protect the side of my head, right? And so my arm looks at about 90 degrees, give or take. Okay, it's not way out here, it's not down here, it's kind of up like this, so I can ensure that whatever's coming from a wide angle is not going to make it to my head. Then we have what's called a side block, or sometimes we refer to it as a low block. I'm blocking the lower part of my body, mainly my ribs and my hips right here. That low block going straight down. Then we have a push down. If somebody were to take an object and kind of go like this, or they're trying to shove it into our abdominal region, right? I want to push it down out of the way. All right, so a couple of things when we're doing these blocks. First, especially with that push down block, I don't want to lean over, I don't want to bend over, I want to remain in control. So for something like a push down block, I want to squat, right? I'm not having to push it down all the way to the ground. I'm just trying to keep it out of my lower abdominal region. Okay, so I'm just trying to clear whatever the object is, a knife, a stick, a punch, right? A kick. I'm just trying to clear whatever it is out of this abdominal region and protecting this section. All right. So I don't want to bend over. I don't want to lean over when I'm doing that block. So let me give you an example of a good push down block and a not great push down block. All right. So a good push down block, right? You bend your knees, you go low. All right. What that does is it actually opens this area up, and most people's body mechanics, when you do that, you're gonna open this space up, which is actually gonna move your body out of the way of whatever that object might be, while also then pushing the object down and away from you. Okay, that's a good push down move. A not great push down move, right, would be I go like this. Notice I haven't actually moved my body out of the way, and in fact, if I've done anything, I've now put my face and nose or my chest in direct path of whatever this object might be, right? So if it's a knee, if it's a kick, if it's a knife or a stick coming at me, I've just leaned over and closed that distance for my opponent. I don't want to do that, okay? So we never want to lean into whatever we may be trying to block out of the way. Secondly, especially newer students, it's easier to think of blocks as stopping something, right? I'm keeping that thing from coming at me. But as you progress as a martial artist, you need to start thinking less about stopping something and more about moving the object, right? So if somebody's coming at me with, just a low round kick, which is something you would want to block with that low block or that side block, right? If I'm doing this, okay, I can stop that kick, right? And my arm is gonna hurt, right? Their leg might hurt depending on what part of the leg they hit me with. And I'm gonna stop that, and that's fine. But what if I can move that object to then be able to come in, right? Or if I can move their leg out of the way and open up their center line, then I have more targets to strike back on, right? So as you progress in your martial arts, you need to start thinking through your blocks as less stopping and more moving out of the way, okay? The same is true for like an outward block, right? Which you're like, okay, but how am I gonna move here, right? I'm kind of stuck in this position. And you're right, you are. And it doesn't take much for them to then consider, okay, well, his ribs are wide open right now, or, realistically, most of my center line, my center mass is wide open for an attack, right? So instead of considering stopping here, I want to move, right? So maybe this is actually more of a grab around that weapon or that stick or that arm or even that leg, right? And now I have them trapped and I'm in control of the situation. Same thing, right? With that inward block, I'm moving the object away from my face. This is why we tell you, it's one of the reasons, we tell you not to stop in front of your face with that inward block, right? I can't see, but also they still have an opportunity to reach me, versus if I move it, now I've completely taken that weapon off a line. And, right, if you think about somebody throwing a punch and you inward block on their punch, well, now you have their entire side wide open. They're not going to be able to reach down fast enough. They're not going to be able to pull back fast enough for you to land in, an uppercut or a hook punch or just even a straight punch into those ribs. You've moved them out of the way and you're going to neutralize the situation. So take that into account, right? I don't want to lean into whatever's coming at me. All right, I'm trying to keep myself protected while moving that object, right? I do need to stop it, but I can stop it and move it, right? I can stop it and control it. I can stop it and control it, okay? Just a couple of examples. And then lastly, if I am just going to work on stopping something, right? If I am just going to use my block to stop the object, I want to make it hurt, okay? Now, when I'm sparring in class and I'm training with my teammates, I don't want to do this to them. But in a real life self-defense situation, if somebody comes at me with something and I have the opportunity to neutralize them, I'm going to neutralize them, okay? So that means our blocks have to be strong, right? I can do strong and move, okay? But I have to be strong. So as you're training, as you're working on those blocks, I want you to kind of think through, how am I doing this? Am I just kind of throwing my arm up, or am I popping my arm up, right? Am I popping, right? I'm moving my legs, pushing it through my hips up to this block, so that if they're going to come down like this, and I'm going to hit that forearm, it's going to hurt them, right? And potentially neutralize the situation, which means I get to go home. All right, so be thinking about that, just like, right? I'm not just, right? And I just bent over. That's not what you're supposed to do. You see what happens, right? I want to, right? I want strength behind your blocks to show that power and that control that you have. And then as you're building that, then it's easier to, right? I can move. I'm not stuck in this situation. I can move through it and control and move forward, and I can gain control. I can take control of a situation where I may have been reacting first. I hope this helps understand a little bit more about blocks and how we use them and how we teach them at HMA DFW. We look forward to seeing you guys on the